What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. So in this video, I want to talk about Jennifer Lopez referring to herself as quote unquote to Negrita del Bronx. And she said this phrase, really the whole phrase in the song was like, Yo siempre seré tu Negrita del Bronx. And she said this in a song called Lonely, and this is a song that she did as a collaboration with the Colombian musical artist Maluma. And, I've heard of this collaboration, but I never actually listened to it. But apparently this has been getting a lot of attention on social media, at least from the black sector of social media, and as well perhaps the Latino sector of social media, the Latin sector, and I guess maybe the Afro-Latino sector as well. So some people are upset that Jennifer Lopez, J-Lo, she referred to herself as, to Negrita del Bronx, because they feel like she's saying that she's a black woman, like, oh, I'm your black woman from the Bronx. And the way that the term Negrita can be translated, that could be the meaning, but Negrita is a slang, somewhat of a slang term, and it can have different meanings based on the context. She could be referring to perhaps, sometimes in amongst Latinos and folks from Latin America, sometimes Negrita doesn't necessarily mean black woman. It can mean maybe like dark skinned, maybe some sort of a dark feature, like maybe like really dark hair, dark eyes, perhaps like a tan skin tone or an olive skin tone, something that's a bit, I guess, quote unquote, darker than what is considered usual, So perhaps maybe she was using it in that term, even though I don't really think there's much that's really quote unquote dark on J-Lo, at this point. She's her original hair color probably, but when the last time we've seen that? Her eye color, I guess, maybe. Her skin tone, I don't really think so. But nevertheless, she said this phrase, and as far as I know, was a part of the songwriting process for this song as well. So seemingly, either she came up with the phrase to say or someone came up with it for her and she approved of it, during the songwriting process. But again, the term isn't only used to refer to black women, though, And as well, the word generally has a positive connotation and is used as a term of endearment. And as well, I'll leave a link of the phrase to Negrita in the Google search image results that come from it. And you'll notice that, there's a variety of different colors as far as like the women are concerned, like a variety of different phenotypes. It's not just black women being represented in that, But nevertheless, I do think it was a weird phrase for Jennifer Lopez to use, though. I'm like, a bit odd. I don't know why she would. There's probably like a lot of other phrases that she could use, And also, like this phrase, Negrita, it can change meaning depending on like the country of the person who uses it, because I think in different countries it has slightly different meanings as well. So that's a thing too. But nevertheless, many people seem to be running with the idea that Jennifer Lopez is referring to herself as black, and they're being offended by that because they're like, no, you don't have the right to refer to yourself as black, Jennifer Lopez. Stop being a culture vulture. Stop stealing from black women and black people, right? And I can understand that, definitely, because Jennifer Lopez does kind of have a history of, culture vulturing and stealing and screwing over black women in the process, to an extent. Like her first single, If I Had Your Love, or If You Had My Love. One of the two. I think it's If You Had My Love. It was really like, I think Rodney Jerkins, not Rodney Jerkins. No, I think maybe Dark Child. Or is Rodney Jerkins Dark Child? But anywho, the producer produced a similar song for the singer Shantae Moore first. I think P. Diddy heard the song, was like, oh, produce something like that for Jennifer Lopez, but make it better. Something like that. And he did, and the song shot to #1, straight out the gate. It was Jennifer Lopez's first single, too. So, that was an example of her stealing from a black woman. But, to be fair, black men were involved in it. If we really want to call things out, we got to call that out too. Where we do have culture vultures, but we have black people, especially black men, aiding culture vultures and helping them to culture vulture. That's something that has to be called out too. And Jennifer Lopez has stolen vocals over the years as well. She stole Ashanti's vocals, and she got caught up, in some scandal because she said the N-word. Really, I think it was Ashanti saying it, but she was stealing her vocals and passing them off as her own. Some folks thought that, it was Jennifer Lopez saying it, and she had to answer for that. And then she was like, I'm sorry, it was just a term of endearment. And then Ja Rule want to come through and, run interference and derail stuff. Like, oh, she Puerto Rican, she Puerto Rican, like, as if that means she's like automatically of African ancestry, like a black person. And we can just tell by her phenotype that that's not true. She may have some sort of black ancestor down the line, perhaps, but it's not very immediate, though. That's the thing. But, that's a situation in itself as far as like, Latinos who are seemingly non-black Latinos being given an N-word pass. That's a whole video in itself, right? So more culture vulture, really, being aided by black people, especially black men. All right, black folks just want to give up the culture. At this point, is it really culture vulture if you're just giving it to folks? To be real, let's be real. Like, is somebody really stealing if you're giving it to them? Like if you're giving somebody something, does that really count as stealing at this point? I'm just saying. But yeah, many people were upset that Jennifer Lopez referred to herself as a quote-unquote negrita, because they're just saying like, hey, Jennifer, you are not a negrita and you will never be a negrita, and you don't know the experience of a negrita. And, perhaps she was trying to refer to herself as being, a black woman from the Bronx. I just don't think that's true. I mean, I don't really think Jennifer Lopez would do that. But then again, maybe she might be thirsty for clout and attention and controversy. I mean, we're talking about it now. Maybe she's just using slang in a different way. Maybe using a different term. Sometimes that can be with, like, say, the N-word. The N-word can mean like a lot of different things depending on the context that you use it in. It could be like a positive thing, like, oh, that's my N. you know. But then again, it can be negative too, and is like, oh, that N. So it can be like a friend, but then it can mean, that MF over there, right? And then when women use it, sometimes they can refer to their men as, their boyfriends as like their in, So again, the context, But nevertheless, I don't think Jennifer Lopez should have used the phrase or the word at all to refer to herself as. But, she has the right to refer to herself as what she wants to refer to herself as. But it does just go on to push that narrative that, Latina women, want to jump in and out of blackness when convenient and claim blackness only when convenient. Say Cardi B, Evelyn Lozada, um, Gina Rodriguez, etc. Right? Etc. So I think I've said all I have to say about this for the moment, at least. But I wonder what Jennifer Lopez has to say about this, and as well, perhaps, you know, other folks in the, Latino community or the Afro-Latino community. Because really, like Jennifer Lopez could have just said, tu Puertorriqueña de Bronx, or tu Boricua de Bronx, right? She could have said those phrases too. And Jennifer Lopez is good for pushing that Puerto Rican stuff, which is fine. She good for that though. So I do find it strange that now she want to switch it up though. Now she want to switch it up because, like, usually when it comes to like Puerto Ricans, from what I've seen, usually it's like, oh, Puerto Rican is like a mixture of African, Europeans, particularly Spaniard, and indigenous, like the Taino folks. But usually I just hear Jennifer Lopez not really say that and just refer to herself as Puerto Rican. She had a commercial actually where she referred to herself as being quote unquote 100% Puerto Rican. It was like a L'Oreal commercial for like makeup,
There's a story behind my skin. It's a mosaic of all the faces before it. My only makeup? True Match.
True Match from L'Oreal has the technology to match your skin's unique tone and undertone. That's why our 33 innovative shades go not just from light to dark, but warm to neutral to cool. So you're 100% guaranteed to find your perfect match.
There's only one true match for me. It's perfect.
True Match from L'Oreal.
While Beyonce referred to herself in her L'Oreal commercial as being, a mixture of African and French and Native American.
There's a unique story behind my skin. So my only makeup, True Match.
With 33 shades, L'Oreal's technology matches your skin's tone and undertone.
There's only one true match for me.
True Match from L'Oreal.
Ooh la la, right? And Beyonce kind of caught a little bit of flack for that, right? But yeah, I just find that a bit odd that, now Jennifer Lopez, she's switching it up though. Alone, just like, all right, you a Negrita now, huh? All right. But maybe she just using it in the different meaning of it, But yeah, but really it's a bit strange because, like, at this point, I don't think Jennifer Lopez would be caught dead next to any black folks, really, But thanks for watching, y'all. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Until the next video, adios and goodbye for now.